whose house this festive occasion was celebrated.
Favorite shows.
The scene we've all been waiting for, Bill and Doug riding across the western plains, chasing the Indians and the outlaws of the West.
A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty "Hi-Yo Silver!" The Lone Ranger. This is the legend of a man who buried his identity to dedicate his life to the service of humanity and country. It is the story of the origin of the Lone Ranger. Early settlers in the West had to be brave men and women, ready to fight for their lives at any moment. There was
Now after that wild ride through the West, we take our first family vacation at Cumberland Falls in 1957. I was mistaken to think that the Skinners were with us during this vacation. They were not. So during this particular sequence, we're going to see our vacation as a family with the Murrays, another Easter, and Cheryl on her first bicycle ride, camping on Christmas, and Bill's fourth birthday. Bill's birthday, being in February, always seemed to come at a time that we had film left over from the preceding Christmas. So anytime we see Christmas with Bill's birthday, it's always the birthday after that particular Christmas. So this is Bill's fourth birthday that you're going to see. Cumberland Falls was a lovely area. Where we would spend our first week as joint families on vacation. Here comes Doug and Debbie being met by Bill saying, "What are we going to do today?" And here comes Shirley saying, "Another day," carrying all the things we need to go to the swimming hole, which is at the foot of the falls. She rendezvous with Eleanor, check the checklist, make sure we have the towels and the ointment for the sunburn, and prepare for another great day. Two lovely beauties being approached by Doug, who's going to flex his muscles. And as we always did on home video, we had to wave. And Bill, starting out young with a pole, no line, no hook, but showing the tendency to be a great fisherman. The lifeline there, as it appears to be, is a line across the swimming pool at the base of the falls because there were some rapids there. And you could hold on to that to be safe and not being swept down the river. Shirley and Eleanor testing the water. Shirley going to give us a great pose in just a moment. You ready? Then the biggie during our vacation was going to the lodge. We were always very apprehensive, but yet we saved money to go there at least once for dinner. We're apprehensive because we weren't concerned that our children, at the age they were, especially Doug and Bill, whether or not they would show good decorum at the table, whether or not they'd throw mashed potatoes at each other. But it worked out to be a great experience, a memorable experience. And then as a break in our routine, they had horses. The children at this time were too young to saddle up and ride by themselves, so we would put them on the horses and lead them up and down the trails over the mountains at Cumberland Falls. On our way home, as there is today, there were always the tourist traps. This particular one was a Sequoian village. The guy we see there probably is one of the Hatfields and McCoys from over the hill. but his headdress looked authentic. So we stopped and let our children experience their first exposure to Indians. Of course, they had to have a bow and arrow. And with their bow and arrows, they had to go into what appeared to be an authentic teepee. And they had to go in just right, to come out just right, to be photographed. Carl had to direct the exit. Doug wasn't satisfied, so he went back in to try it again. Then they come out carrying their bows and arrows, and they're happy that they have seen a Sequoian Indian village on Route 25. And here are the falls. I regret that we did not have a camera of quality to capture the beauty. It's truly a beautiful area, a place that we should go back to sometime. The falls are at the head of Lake Cumberland, cascading down below where we had our swimming hole, where every day we enjoyed our trek down with all of our supplies, our thermoses of coffee, our sunburn lotion, and the children. Coming out of our cabin, Cheryl, Bill, Shirley, ready for another day. Sweet little Cheryl, proper decorum. As she's getting her picture taken, she waves and throws a kiss. And Bill too, but he does it bad. So we tell him to do it again. This time, he gives a good kiss and does it right. The cabin, as I said, was comfortable. Wood-burning fireplace, nestled in the woods, a beautiful large state park, well maintained by the state of Kentucky. We had several vacations there, this being the first, and certainly a memorable one. Coming back after another hard day, walking up the steps to our cabin. Two ladies of the day helping each other into the wading pool, being joined by their two daughters, Debbie and Cheryl, with Bill standing there saying, well, I don't think this is for me today. The end of another day, heading back toward the cabin. And here we are waiting to see the full glory of the falls. Bill sitting in a very precarious position, being lifted down by Dad. One of the things we didn't do too good in those days was pan the camera slow so you see what you were taking a picture of. But here we did pan the falls. As you can see, they are truly beautiful.